Good morning. This is Dr. Matthew Dunn, host of The Future of Email. My guest today, I'd say friend and acquaintance, Aaron Smith, CEO of Sageflo. Aaron, terrific to reunite with you. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you, Matt.
Yeah, we met at live conferences back when people did that. And I believe you were still at running the lab within Shaw Scott at that point in time a few years ago. Yes?
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, our business, what is Sageflo today, started out as a company called Lift Science in 2015. Myself and my other two co-founders, coming out of both the agency world and the ESP space, we basically wanted to build a company that filled in solutions that the big players really don't do. So that's like what our focus was. And we joined forces with Shaw Scott 2017, which was really great for us. I think really great for Shaw Scott as well. And essentially, Shaw Scott was like an incubator for our business, which was really like just a
Wow.
really wonderful,
Yeah.
really great time. I'm super grateful to both Melissa and Julian for kind of giving us that opportunity.
Yeah, and Shaw Scott, if someone's listening and doesn't spend as much time in this space as maybe we do, one of the better known, bigger email focused agencies and Seattle based, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you guys spun out. I guess that's the correct phrase. You spun out. Sageflow was starting to become a product on its own within Shaw Scott when I think I first encountered you, and then
Yeah.
boop, I'm like, where's Aaron? Oh, well, they're now a standalone company and rocking by everything I can see. Fill me in a bit on.
Yeah. So that is a very, yeah, it's very interesting. So we are rocking now. I would say we hit some really major speed bumps right as we went out on our own. And it's that happens to lots of startup businesses. So January, here's the situation or let's set the stage. January 2020, we've built a really cool workflow automation tool for marketers based on our work at the agency and noticing that there really isn't anything like Asana for marketers in the
Right,
marketplace. There,
really.
there are some really great tools out there that I think a lot of folks in the industry have used because there's nothing better, but there wasn't anything that solved for the kind of really rapid high volume of campaigns that email marketers, digital marketers in general, folks that are doing ad display, social media marketers, they all have the same challenge of we've got 20 or 30 campaigns a week that we're creating. So we built something that we thought was really, really cool for that space. And we spun our business out to go to market in January 2020. And then COVID hit and it just really forced us to reflect on our go-to-market strategy. So we didn't have funding. We were a profitable business, but we didn't really have a big war chest. And for that type of product, you really need to kind of go to market with more of a freemium model. And it's more about let's go get, 10,000, 20,000 signups and then start to build our business. And we just weren't positioned in 2020 to do that. We're not a gigantic team. We don't have, 200 engineers or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we essentially, I wouldn't quite say mothballed, but we took our attention off of the workflow product altogether. And that's funny because the name of the company was originally that product name, Sageflow.
Yeah.
And that's not the case today. Today the company name is Sageflow. And we're sort of slowly pivoting another one of our products that we had in place in 2020 to be our flagship product. And eventually we'll probably just call that Sageflow. Today it's called Sageflow Radiate. And that's a tool for large enterprise businesses or medium sized businesses that have distributed teams like quick serve restaurants, franchise retail businesses. And it allows those local marketing teams, somebody who maybe is a franchise owner and doesn't know the first thing about marketing,
Mhm.
gives them the ability to send out like world-class enterprise level email marketing campaigns through the ESP that the corporate team, the national marketing team is using. So we've got this really nice UI that's more of a consumer focus that sits on top of that. And then our other product is Archiver, and that's been around since we started back in 2015, and that's continued to gain traction with call center users, and also just helping marketers get a better sense of how to audit their own programs. So that essentially we save all the emails or SMS
Yeah.
messages, direct mail. It's a really cool archiving tool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, what we found with that, as we've kind of gone deeper with customers in that space as well, is that it saves a big enterprise business with a large call center could be saving like more than $1 million a year in how fast they're able to address calls that are related to marketing inquiries. And that was a big shock to us. We started doing this work last year to really understand the value of our tool because customers never leave, which is great. Makes me really happy. As a kind of the product owner and the business owner of the solution. But we wanted to understand really like, okay, what is the value to the org here? And it's that it just makes life really easy. And then those call center people are not bothering the marketing teams and saying like, Aaron called in because he was upset about this offer that we sent him. What was that? The marketing team can just focus on doing execution and strategy without having to um, essentially address what they could do without a tool like this is maybe address a few dozen issues a week. And what we see our customers doing is that they literally will use the tool thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of times a week if they're at big enough scale.
Yes, I wanted to delve into Archiver a little bit more, and then go back to Radiate because they're both kind of fascinating. Archiver, customer that puts that in has their outbound marketing communications captured, archived, searchable, accessible to their frontline customer service call center folks. Is that reasonable?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that everything to every person?
Every single unique message. That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a lot, it's a lot of data that we're storing. Um, and yeah, to us, I mean, we originally built that um, in partnership with one of the big ESPs that had a lot of customers that had this need and they weren't going to build it themselves. So
Right.
essentially we
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
hey guys, like we keep having these deals where customers ask us for this as part of the RFP process. We don't have a solution. Like, could you build something? And we
Yeah.
were like, yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to, build a product where your sales team can refer for us into opportunities. And that's how it got legs under it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, like we were just saying, the scale of what we store is really interesting because there are all kinds of use cases that come up within that beyond just the someone's calling in because they've got a question about an email. Uh, Litigation comes in sometimes,
Yeah. I was
an
going to
audit
say,
and
yeah.
compliance thing. So again, like when the legal team comes to the marketing team, and we hear this a lot from our existing customers and then new prospects too. This happens pretty frequently where the legal team will say, Aaron, I'm just using myself as an example. I'm not, I never called to the contact center or sue people, but Aaron is threatening to sue us.
Yeah.
We sent him some type of email that he found offensive or whatever, the cause might be, or we gave him an offer that, felt like it wasn't right, whatever it might be. We want to see everything that was sent to him in the last
Oh,
180 days.
yeah.
Can you give that to us? And without a tool like Archiver, marketing team is actually going to have to
Yeah.
hire a consultant
Yeah.
to, spend weeks pulling that data out, trying to
Yeah.
reconstruct what the set of data was at the time of send. They're probably not going to get a real picture anyhow, but we've kind of saved everything as a snapshot in time. It's really cool there. And it's also really great for some folks in call centers now are also tasked with generating new business. It's more of the customer experience side of things. So if you're in travel sector, for example, like cruise ships and airlines for VIPs, actually will have people that reach out to customers to try to, essentially help book travel and things like that.
Okay.
And so they'll go into Archiver and just look at the email journey where we will have this really nice view where you can visually kind of see the thumbnails of all the messages that particular customer that you're calling has received.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
And
Wow.
um, yeah, this is like the picture tells the story better than, 1,000 words thing is
Yeah, absolutely.
it's like the way the human mind works is we're all pattern matching, pattern recognition engines essentially. And so that person in the call center that is reaching out to a customer, when they look at that, they kind of immediately know without having to read notes or a lot of text. They understand the customer that they're talking to. Like
Yeah.
this person gets a lot of messages and look, they're always getting offers to go on a cruise to Alaska or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to calibrate
Yeah.
my conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See it, literally see it through their eyes, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, now, of course, being, being a major geek, I've got a couple of questions. That's a lot of storage,
It is a lot of
a lot of
stuff.
organization.
Yeah.
Um, Broad strokes, was the search problem or the storage problem the biggest hairball, or was it something else?
Oh, I think the surge probably. I am blessed to work with one of like probably the best architect I've ever known. He's also my friend. He was my best man at my wedding. Thomas Westcott. He's our CTO, and he's a genius. I really can't claim credit for anything. I'm a decent product person, a good UX person, but when it comes to enterprise scale,
Yeah.
Thomas is the man. We both started our careers on Wall Street,
Mm.
building different types of trading, settlements, and foreign exchange systems. So we were both really familiar with the concept of big data before it was called big data.
Mhm.
And both of us have really strong data backgrounds, database backgrounds as well. So I would say our biggest challenge was just designing a system that could handle all of that. These days, massive storage is not a hard thing to solve for, but for us, typically a search comes back within 2 seconds when a customer,
Yeah.
customer care person is looking up a customer's
Oh,
record.
wow.
And that's important, like
Yeah,
being
yeah,
able to pull all that stuff up. So yeah, we were very intentional in kind of making sure we knew that that would be the use case out of the bat. And we started off by working with an enterprise ESP. So we kind of had the advantage of working with customers that already were in that scale of data. So we
yeah,
thankfully we didn't have to like build it one time and then go back and like fix things because we were, getting bigger and bigger customers.
yeah, yeah. Wow, nice, nice. And not a trivial data problem, like you're describing as if it were easy. And
Yeah, it's
no.
there's a lot to it because yeah, sometimes people want to get we've built a kind of flexible tagging system so that people can also look up things beyond just, by a customer
Yeah,
ID, order
yeah.
numbers and things like that. So yeah,
Spring promotion or whatever, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Wow. Fascinating. And I'm really not surprised about the stickiness that you're describing, right? No customers leaving. I'm also not surprised by the lawyers getting onto it. It's a complete sidebar, but the internet, the Wayback Machine, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
this project, like I spent a couple of years as a technical IP expert working with litigation firms, and thought like the Wayback Machine could fund itself
Yeah.
just by charging lawyers.
You're right. Yeah,
Like, they're
absolutely.
looking for that. What's that one random email that you sent at 3 in the I don't know where it is, right?
Yeah.
Come on. But there's a requirement and there's value to it.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna use that. So lately, we've been kind of gearing up our go to market and trying to get our name out there in the world. And
Right.
currently, we're calling Archiver the ultimate search engine for your marketing messages, which is like that's a nice tag. But I like, yeah, I don't know, the Wayback
Yeah.
Wayback Machine for all of your marketing messages as well.
Something
And
like that. Well,
yeah,
and Archiver, I mean, we're a product rat hole that you didn't ask for. Like it's a description, but it's not all the value.
exactly. Yeah, it says what it does. So
Yeah.
we joke all of our, over the years when we started as Lift Science to where we are today, we built, I think, 9 products over the years. And now, we're focusing primarily on 2. We've got one other one that comes up relatively frequently, which is coupons. And that's essentially just a bridge that makes it very easy for folks who are using something like Shopify or Magento, whatever their e-com platform might be,
Mm-hmm.
or they're generating coupon codes. We make it easy to leverage those in your ESP without having to have a data team do that stuff. And
Yeah.
that still comes up. We probably pick up 4 or 5 customers a year on that without like, we're not making a big push for that, but it's a need for folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everything else we built is more or less sunsetted or shut down at this point, including workflow tool.
Was that hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yes. Yeah. For anybody listening to this, that is more on, I would say the product engineering
Yeah.
or company leadership side,
Yeah.
killing, it's a terrible phrase, kill your babies,
Kill your babies.
but, we just have really heated debates about that, all the time over the years when it comes up to a point of looking at something and saying, should we shut this off or not?
Yeah.
But it has been so great for our business because we've been able to just really narrow our focus. And like I said, really from our go-to-market strategy these days, we're just focusing on those 2 products because we think that they have the most value. Pretty much any company in the world can use Archiver. It benefits them. And then the distributed marketing tool, Radiate, is today it's valuable to franchise businesses, particularly QSRs, or could be folks. It's kind of all kinds of interesting sectors. Learning centers, tutorial type businesses, health and beauty services like spas. So there's like, we're finding a really interesting world as we've gone into that space of different types of businesses beyond what we, I guess, historically focused on was kind of retail and financial services. And travel.
QSR means
Quick serve restaurant. Sorry.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So Radiate, yeah, you went where I was going to go next to ask about that. So without naming names, pick a sort of tip, like tell the story of someone using Radiate at a local level and how that relates to the, I guess, probably national or chain level.
Yeah. So yeah, without naming names, I'll mention, one of our QSR customers, they're based in the Midwest in Wisconsin. And, they're like burgers and custard is their specialties. Really, really awesome folks. And they actually had tried this a few times before working with us. Some of the really, really old legacy established ESPs, kind of the first wave from the late 90s, early 2000s, have some very, I would say, like bare bones basic capabilities for distributed teams.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so they had tried that with their folks. So their challenge essentially when we started the conversation with them was, we've got, let's just say, more than 500 restaurants, and those folks today don't really have a good tool to use. So a lot of them are using something like Emma or Constant Contact or Mailchimp. And that's awful for us as the national marketing team because it's disjointed. The people sending these are not professional marketers. They have a different list. There are so many things wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, they're not offering a choice for those folks who really want to drive people to come into their restaurants and their stores, right? So it was basically a lose-lose situation where nobody was happy. And they got introduced to us, and we worked with them to build our solution on top of their existing ESP.
Okay.
So basically it connects through APIs. That's how our tool works.
Yeah.
And now today we're on many different ESPs. We sit on top of them. And essentially the beauty of it is the local marketer, and they're not a local marketer. The local business owner, maybe
Right.
some guy or gal who owns 5 or 10 restaurants in one state or a couple states. They're focused on inventory management and staffing, and some of them might even be behind a cash register, like during the daytime. Marketing is the last thing that they're gonna be good at. And so what we've done is we built this really nice, I would call it kind of more of a consumer type of interface.
Okay.
So it's more like, constant contact meets your enterprise ESP. And we give them guardrails and templates that the national marketing team puts
Yeah.
together for them. And so they can send out, personalize their messages using, brand approved guidelines. There's a whole approval system for customers that want to use that. And that's also a really interesting um, kind of use case there. Some of our customers trust their franchisees or their local marketing teams enough where they don't need the approval module, or they only turn it on for some owners
Yeah.
because they're like, yeah, this guy, he goes off script, so we need to look at what he's doing before he sends it out. Um, but we don't want to do that for all 800 or whatever the number might be
Mhm.
of our different franchise owners that are out there. And then the cool thing about it actually going out through the ESP is the more sophisticated capabilities that a modern day ESP gives you, like audience segmentation, um, personalized product recommendations where you can have other include files, or, real time data like what you guys do, that can be included in the templates as well. And without that local marketing, they don't need to know anything about how to put those tags in. It's just part of the template.
Nice, right,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So the more technically and aesthetically sophisticated part can theoretically at least be handled by headquarters.
that's right. Yeah. Yep. And
Fascinating. And you were saying the results, like the local results, are
they're
unbelievable.
They are, yeah. So that's what, has been really I'm just laughing because I feel like, I've been in the space about 2 decades now. I don't know if I should be proud of that or embarrassed. Um, but, I think I know a thing or two, about, particularly email marketing, and I've worked with so many amazing, teams at many of the world's largest companies, seeing them set up their email marketing programs and, basically the day-to-day execution of really good copy and messaging that leads to, effective campaigns. And the ironic thing is these folks who don't have any of that training or legacy behind them are creating campaigns that perform so much better than what the national marketing team is doing. And it's because this has always been like a mantra in our industry. It's relevant. It's that word relevance that comes into play here. And somebody, at the local juice shop down the street from me that sends an email out, maybe saying like, we're doing a sale this Sunday when the farmer's market is happening at the same time. That that's interest. Like, then you're tying it into something that I can connect with.
Yeah.
And it also, what we're seeing with this, and this is why I believe 10 years from now, local marketing will be huge for every business, is we've we've made so many strides. Future of email. Uh, the future of email currently is automation, AI, so much really cool stuff that we can do with software. But uh, what we lose with all of that, I think, is more of a personal touch. And what Radiate gives companies is the ability to have team members create a more personalized touch again. Social media obviously does that, but it's at scale, right? It's not local. And my CRO, Per Caro, always uses this example, which I love, of, if you're in the South, to say y'all, like, just rolls off the tongue. It's super natural. It's a normal thing. I've been trying to add it to my vernacular because it's a nice way of addressing folks. It's gender neutral. But it sounds weird and stilted coming out of my mouth. And it would look really weird if Sageflo was like, hey, y'all, like, this is what we're doing. Um, but again, like, if you're in Atlanta, Florida,
Right.
Carolina, Alabama, it doesn't look weird to get an email with that. So, like, that's another thing where local marketers can use like, they're just going to naturally use, terminology that makes sense to them. And it resonates with the audience that's receiving it too. So I think there's a lot at play there, but
Yeah.
the, the engagement rate of those campaigns is much higher.
Yeah.
And we've done some studies with some of our customers also on the revenue side as well, where they've tested it like using coupons so we can track, which campaigns they came from and then go back and look at their data with their BI team from the in-store purchases and see that the campaigns that the local marketers send out also tend to have something like a 30% higher basket size, average revenue. So,
Oh,
yeah. And the engagement stuff is like, it's 200% higher. So that's where, like the national team might be getting 15% open rates. The local marketers are getting like 35% open rates.
wow.
Um,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
click rates and things like that. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's got to be kind of fun.
It's really fun. Yeah.
And maybe a little not unexpected because you built the thing, but pleasant surprise that it's that much of an improvement.
Yeah, yeah, I would say, it's been a pleasant surprise and, like a pleasant not quite a shock, but as we've, you
Yeah.
know, as we've gotten more customers and as we've started to, do more of this, like unpacking the ROI of what you're getting out of it
Yeah.
type exercise, when you're building a business, you always wanna get case studies so that you can use those to talk to new prospects.
Sure. Sure.
And yeah, like we had this moment, I think it was, 4 or 5 months ago where we saw with one of our customers that they made $8 million dollars in revenue from this tool. And like that was flabbergasting
Yeah.
because it isn't cannibalizing anything else that they're doing. It's basically like a complete new revenue stream. And in a way, this is why I really do think this will be a big part of, the future of marketing programs and campaigns is those sorts of numbers are things that we haven't really seen
Mm.
in our industry in like 10 or 15 years since everybody was like abandoned cart or browse based behavior. And that became a big thing. So this is like another thing that I think people will start to build programs for over the next 5+ years. Where they'll
But
take
it's
and
y-
see that.
you're you're putting the human, the human to human back in the equation, right? Like your farmers market example, just coincidence, but it really resonates because the town I live in has one of the best farmers markets in the country. And if you make at the market on Saturday reference here, it's a very meaningful thing. Like
Yeah.
it's a rare Saturday that my wife is not going to the farmers market and a campaign like, oh yeah, hey, we're going to be at the market. Like she'd know what that means. And it means a lot.
Yeah.
And the national
Absolutely.
guy sitting
Yeah.
in whatever would have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the quick serve restaurant I was talking about for them. They're in a lot of rural areas,
Yeah.
and it's kind of the place to go after the Friday night football game.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of local marketing like that. Basically, like come in after the game and get like a free sundae or something like that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
get 2 burgers or whatever it might be.
Well, we happen to be having this conversation the morning after Hurricane Ian pasted Florida, and my brain is going to, you really don't want to have a tone deaf campaign going out of your Florida franchise this morning. Like you
Yeah,
really, really don't. Why? Because it's underwater.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so again, yeah, it allows you to communicate more effectively.
Yeah.
We've got some stuff in there too that allows the local team to see the national marketing team's calendar so they don't step on each other's toes.
Yeah, that makes
They
sense.
can be
Yeah.
more
That
aligned.
makes sense.
Um, yeah, the last kind of interesting data point I'll kind of share on that is typically what we see is from the local side, our customers are sending 2,500 to 4,500 messages out, campaigns, that are touching many, many millions of people a year. And the national team is never like, that's impossible to scale that,
I see.
essentially
Yeah.
to get to
Yeah.
that. Well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and to have the not only the cadence at all those endpoints, but the right cadence, right? Because here the big game is Friday night, and
You
there,
can't automate that. Yeah.
yeah,
You
well,
can't. Yeah.
yeah, you'd never know how you'd trip on yourself. Or you'd have 1,000 people at headquarters trying to keep up with the local news, of which there isn't any.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's a whole, like that's an over the peer topic, right? Where marketing moving back into a local space that journalism used to occupy, arguably. Fascinating. Wow. Very cool. On a technical side, you said sits on top at an API level with multiple ESPs. Having worked with uh, email service provider APIs more than a bit, that's you said that as if it were easy.
Oh, yeah, again, I think that, I owe a great debt, of gratitude to Thomas, our CTO, for coming up with a good model for that. Uh,
Nice.
you know, we every time we do a new integration with a new ESP, it is a relatively, it's a big lift. And every platform is different.
It's different. Yeah.
They're 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 totally different.
Yeah.
Can you create a campaign via the API, schedule a campaign? How do you get assets in and out of the
Yeah.
platform?
Yeah.
As far as like email templates and
Yeah.
images go, all of that. Um, the the probably the bigger challenge. all- Every ESP has that worked out to some degree, but then where it gets a little bit more challenging is on the audience capability side. So for us, what
Mhm.
we need to do ultimately is, if you're a franchise owner that has 5 stores, you only ever can see, target people within that realm, right?
I see.
How we set the audiences and the filters up,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
that itself is a little bit of manual work on each ESP to get to that level of sophistication.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't get around that. So that's part of our onboarding. And it's not quite as much effort as standing up an ESP itself. So for us, it's maybe 6 to 8 weeks of work, to get everything in place. And we're working with a client on a new platform. If it's an existing platform, it's 3 or 4 weeks, because no matter what, we're going to have to sit down with them and say, like, what's your data model and what do you want to make available beyond just limiting, um, you know, Frankie franchiser
Yeah.
to, to his or her 5, locations in 2 states. What else do you want to make available to them? Do you want to let them do any sort of RFM targeting? And really, typically, it will be something like that, where they do want to be able to, do the same type of targeting that a good email marketer would be, which is like, I want this email to go out to, highly engaged customers or lapsed, because like maybe we're doing a sale, but we don't
Yeah.
want everybody. We know that our highly engaged folks will, come in anyway, so we don't need to use a promo for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things like that. And then, product categories. So in the case of like a quick serve restaurant, um, product category is more like like what the customer, when did they come in? Are they a lunchtime customer? Are they, a dinner customer? Do they like Sundays? Are they a dessert or a burger person? Things like that.
Wow. 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 That's not necessarily what ESPs were designed to do out of the gate. So I imagine.
Yeah, well, it's not that. That I think that's kind of more, it's always different for every business, but I do think every modern ESP these days makes it relatively easy to get down to that level. But it is still, it's work, because it's customized, and it is that we live in a golden age of, you know,
Nice.
it's an old timey phrase, uh, but it is a wondrous time. And I think a- as marketing and marketing technologists, we should stop every once in a while and kind of pinch ourselves and be grateful for everything that we have. I know that we're always complaining, and, my vendor doesn't support XYZ or whatever,
Right.
but the capabilities that we have, available are just really, they're amazing. And what people can do today with a team of 10 used to take a team of like 40 or 50, and you can be 5 to 10 times as productive with that team of 10 today as you could have been 10 years ago with 20 or 30 people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good note to close on because I like what you just said. Wow. Wow, what a fascinating trip. And I think a lot of growth ahead for you guys in Sageflo. How big's the team right now in terms of people?
We're still really small. So
Yeah,
yeah,
get
we're
bigger.
yeah, we will get bigger. When we get to 40 or 50 people, that's like, yeah, that's when I'll feel like, okay, it's like
Yeah.
we're really like getting some traction now.
Well, cool. Let's hit stop so I can let you get on with your day. But Aaron, what a pleasure to catch up, and we got to do it in public, which is kind of fun.
I love it. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see you, Matt. Thanks so much for having me on.
My guest has been Aaron Smith, CEO of Sageflo.